Sharda.
I'm Joel.
Sydney.
And I'm Lester. And here we have today Mr. Chad Kawai, our sponsor, and Mr. Martin Akuti, our mentor.
Before we start our presentation, have everyone here ever tried Hawaiian horse chocolate? Hawaiian horse chocolate is very famous in the world now. I'm sure everyone here have heard about Hawaiian horse. So today we are going to explore the inventory process of Hawaiian horse and identify the important risks and inventory controls for the Hawaiian horse accounting system. First, I'm going to talk about a little bit Hawaiian horse history. Hawaiian horse was started by Mr. Taki Tamis, who was originally from Maui. He began creating a special candy made from macadamia nut and his secret brand of chocolate in his own kitchen. In 1960, Hawaiian horse was found. Hawaiian horse model is generally classic and original. This picture is the Hawaiian horse main products, and there's have a good news that they just recently acquired Manua company. Mr. Kawai is today's our special guest. Also is our professional. He is a controller of Hawaiian horse, and he has been worked at Hawaiian horse for 10 years. Hawaiian horse have 4 locations: Honolulu, Hilo, LA are the full productions, and Japan is a distribution size. Today we are going to focus on Honolulu full production size.
Thank you, Hong Bin, for the introduction. Today, the focus of our project is to explain the inventory process of wine host. So myself will be talking about the purchasing process. We have John here who's going to talk about the receiving process. We have Zingli who's going to talk about production process. And also we have Lester who's going to be talking about the sales process. So of course in this class we're learning about Sage. We thought it would be a great idea to compare Hawaiian Host's platform, what they use as far as their accounting system, to Sage. So in any kind of inventory business, it's important to have the best data integrity, also while making sure you have the software that can incorporate the rest of the company along with it. And of course that would be finance, sales, marketing, and of course human resources. So a little research we did comparing Microsoft Dynamics GP to Sage. In Sage, transactions are limited to 50,000, whereas Microsoft Dynamics can take a lot more without slowing the system down. Of course, user capability, there is more availability for users. software performance is obviously faster, and reports. So you can get 150 different reports from Microsoft Dynamics GP versus the I believe it's 80 reports from Sage. And then also server-wise, because it's a web-based platform, it can operate over many different servers. Okay, so of course, when making a product, you need raw commodities. In terms of Hawaiian Host products, we'll talk about their Aloha Gems, which is the most popular, probably simplest form of candy. And their raw ingredients would include obviously mac nuts and chocolate. Macadamia nuts, Hawaiian Host prides in cracking and roasting them freshly. So they come straight from the farms. And with the acquisition of Mauna Loa, it's made the process much more efficient. Occasionally, they do have to go to the open market to get their mac nuts, depending on the availability and the sizing. Chocolate is from outside vendors, and of course, the pricing can be volatile. Okay, so the process of commodities. The main person in charge would be the commodities buyer for Hawaiian Host. What happens here in this process is they would go to the supplier with an inquiry. The supplier comes back with a contracted response. And then the commodities buyer will go back to the executive board for approval. And if it is approved, then he goes in and puts a purchase order into the system. The purchase order is then obviously sent to the supplier, and then the shipping and receiving process begins. Now, obviously you need packaging and paper products, so this is done a little bit different. It's done through what is called a blanket order, and the person that's in charge of that would initially go to the board, ask them for the initial approval of this blanket order, which would be, for example, 1 million containers and lids. The board would approve it, and then it would be along the same process where you go and do a supplier inquiry, purchase order, send the purchase order to the supplier, and shipping and those processes begin. And all the locations would just pull from that one blanket order. Okay, so just a recap in a flow chart of the process. We have, of course, the sales forecast now. Hawaiian Host forecast 12 months out. That's including considering promotions. And they forecast it, they will prepare a production schedule according to that forecast. And what happens at that point is the month before, they look at what they have in inventory and what they're forecasting, and they would make adjustments. They would collaborate together and make sure that that's truly what they need. If the report is accurate, obviously it will go straight to a purchase requisition. If not, they would come back and make adjustments. And then if at that purchase requisition point, they would get the authorization, and then it would be on to their putting the data into their accounting system with their 3-part form. One for accounting, one for the warehouse, and one for the supply. Okay. So thank you. I'd like to introduce John, who's going to talk about the receiving process.
So after the purchasing process is complete, the next process that takes place is the receiving inventory process. And during this process, the raw material that are bought are brought into the warehouse. And from here, the warehouse employers will verify the goods, and they will also get a shipping receipt and the purchase order, and they will make sure if the two are matching correctly, and they will also do a physical counting to see if the quantity of the inventory is correct, and if the inventory receipt are not correct, then there has to be adjustment that needs to be made. And if they're correct, then the data goes to the accounting department for recording. And the accounting department will also get a copy of the purchase order and the shipping receipt, and they'll see if the two are matching. And they will also do a physical count of the inventory, and if they do match, then they record the data into the inventory module. And as you can see here, in the inventory, there are 4 different types of inventory. There's chocolate, there's macadamia nuts, there's dry material and other materials. And as for internal control in the receiving inventory, the warehouse employees will count all the inventory to see if everything is there. They make sure that the quantity is correct, and the accounting department will also count the inventory. They make sure that the data on the computer matches the actual quantity that's in the warehouse. And so the accounting department and the warehouse employee will work together to maintain internal control and keep track of what should be in the warehouse. And the important thing here would be making sure that the warehouse employers do not have access to the accounting records, because if they do, they can change the data, and that would be a bad thing. And that is all for the receiving inventory. Thank you.
Okay. Now that all the raw material is in the system, I'm going to talk about how the raw material goes to the production line. First, we have the manufacturing order. Manufacturing order is prepared by the production planner. It based on the inventory requirement from the sales forecast. What the manufacturing order do is it will break down an item by every raw material that will need to be used to produce that product. And then we have the warehouse. The warehouse will see all the manufacturing order and will depend on the manufacturing order, scan the raw material and draw it to the stage bin 1. For your easier understand, just call it maybe location 1, yes, stage bin 1. And then the production line will get all the raw material from the stage bin 1 and put it to the production. After the product are produced, we have finished good, which over here. And every case of finished good has a barcode and particle on it. The key thing is the particle, because when the production line scans the particle, it tells the system how many finished goods are produced, and it will release all the raw material from the system. And then the finished good goes to the stage bin 2. and the finished good on the stage bin 2 will either go to the warehouse or the warehouse on the production floor. And here is a picture example of manufacturing order entry. You can see that every manufacturing order has a item number, and the BOM and the routing is the two main component of a manufacturing order. What BOM is? BOM is a list of the raw material and the sub-assemblance that will be leased to produce this item. And the routing here is the process or the steps to produce this item. Here we have a routing entries example. Here you can see that every routing has different routing sequence. Here we have is the regular routing sequence for Hawaiian Host. We have the chocolate depositor, lead depositor, and enveloper and packaging. You can see that the routing entry involves the labor and the machine, which is the overhead. And the picture over here, the lady on that picture is also one of the control during the production. Ladies here make sure every chocolate base has two macadamia on it. Okay, next term we'll talk a little bit about the sales cycle.
Alright, now that we have the finished goods, we can do our selling. So there's sales cycle starts when a customer service personnel receive a customer order. Customer order often received by phone call, fax, or email, and then once they get that order, they generate a picking ticket, which indicates which products have been ordered, and then that picking ticket will go to the warehouse. Warehouse personnel will then check the product if it is available or not. If it is not available, they cancel the order. Hawaiian Host doesn't do any back orders. And if it is available, the warehouse personnel will pick and gather those items. And then after that, the picking ticket will be sent to the accounting department. Accounting department will make sure that the picking ticket has been signed by one of the warehouse personnel. And yeah, and then the accounting department will generate 3 copies of invoices, one for accounting department to keep, and one for the warehouse, and of course one for the customer. As for the pricing control, only the sales manager can change the prices, and they have different prices for different customers. So no salesperson can change the prices. And just to wrap up, inventory is a big chunk in manufacturing companies' balance sheet. That is why implementing internal controls is very important. Controls such as establishment of responsibilities, segregation of duties, documentation procedures, and physical count is very important. And we believe that Hawaiian Host is doing really great on those internal controls. I'd like to thank Mr. Markinafuku for sharing his ideas with us, and also to Mr. Kawai for teaching us how their inventory process works from purchasing to production to sell.
Thank you, guys.
So much.
Had 1 minute left on my card.